It's Monday, and you know what that means. It's IndyCar night on iRacing. Hello again, everybody. I'm Gary Gonson, and welcome to Race First coverage of Round 4 of Season 2, 22 of the Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split. Coming to you from Fontana, California, and the Auto Club Speedway. Joining me for expert analysis in the booth, as always, from the IndyCar eSports team in the Lionheart IndyCar Series is Stephen Larkamp. And joining us for the first of 3 races with us this season, he will be my broadcast partner for Race Versus upcoming coverage of Season 5 of the Revolution IndyCar League's Schaefer's IndyCar Series starting June 8th, is the weekend editor at Jalopnik.com and co-host of the Motorsport 101 podcast. Please welcome Ryan Eric King. Ryan, We'll go ahead and kick it off with you. Now, even though that the world closed course speed record was set here in 2000, Fontana has kind of matured over time to become less of a speed palace and more of a driver's track. There's a lot more to this place than just smashing the gas and turning left, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all about getting the balance right, making sure that you can find clean air, especially when you're running in traffic. There's a lot of strategy when it comes to being fast here at Fontana in race conditions.
That is certainly true here tonight, that's for sure. I've done a few laps around here before this started, and I've seen a lot of guys rim riding up on the top of the track towards the wall there. And you can certainly run a lot of grooves here, but running a sort of higher line seems to be the preferred one. At least it is the path of least resistance for many of them when it comes to keeping that foot flat down like many of them want Auto Club to be. But as you said, it's not as much a keep a foot to the floor place. It's more a place where you actually, as we said, is more of a driver's track.
All right, let's see. Provisionally, we got Franzoni now on the pole with 2:23.373, and that really transitions me into the track records here. Now, because IndyCar and CART ran here, IndyCar has 2 track records at Fontana. Now, CART, using the track measurement of just over 2 miles, so they use 2.029. I don't know where they were measuring that from, maybe up near the wall, I don't know. But set 22 years ago, okay? So this is how much technology has stopped with IndyCar racing. 2003 Indy 500 winner Jill DeFillon holds the CART and world closed course speed records here with a lap of 241.428 miles per hour. To date, since then, Fontana remains the only oval in the world that has recorded an official lap above 240 miles an hour. The IRL IndyCar track record here is set by 4-time Indy 500 winner Helio Castroneves. Set in 2003, he turned a lap of 226.757 miles per hour, a seemingly pedestrian speed compared to DeFerrin's world record. Now, also, the IndyCar record for the fastest 400-mile race was also set here in 2003. That was Sam Hornish Jr. as he averaged 207.151 miles per hour en route to his victory here. All-time winners in IndyCar here, Sam Hornish, Jimmy Vasser, Adrian Fernandez, each with 2. Fernandez is notable because he's the only driver to win in CART and an IRL car. Stand by in the garage area. It's almost time to go racing. With that, it's time to look at tonight's starting lineup. But before we do, and if you enjoy Race First coverage of the Monday Night Indy Fix, and you respect the weekly stream, make sure you support us by smashing the like button below and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next race. We're also interactive via YouTube chat function, so shout out to your favorite driver or team or let somebody know who was at fault for that crash. Now let's get into it at Auto Club. With about 30 seconds left, we will start gridding up here and getting the starting lineup. Franzoni looks like provisionally on the pole. 2:23.373 is kind of held up. And about 10 seconds left before we can start going through the starting lineup.
Seems like everyone is finished there.
Yeah, I think everyone's decided to stand pat. Looks like Dakota has not chosen to turn a lap. Cherry has not chosen to turn a lap. So we will get the starting lineups here at Fontana. And here we go. Go ahead.
On the pole for the first time this season on the Monday night broadcast, it is Rodrigo Franzoni's number 11. A great run for him thus far. Alongside him will be our old friend, the pole sitter from the last 3. Yes, all 3 of the previous Monday night broadcasts were held by the guy now in second tonight, the number 1 of Adriano Pinero, who's been stellar this season. Adriano Fraporti will be starting third in the number 6, alongside the 2 of PDF, Pablo Diaz Francis. Row 3 will be AJ Musselman in the number 3 machine, alongside the 20 of Beto Sousa.
Yes, and in 7th, we have Mark A. Murphy, and then in 8th position, we have Alexander Rigon. In 9th,
I believe that is Baroni in 8th.
Yes, Marcio Baroni in 8th, Alexander Rigon in 9th. 10th, we have Matt Houston. 11th, we have Rafael Eckhart. And in 12th, we have Bruno Miranda.
Bruno Romanzini starts 13th in number 22, alongside the 18 of Pedro Gomez. John Silva's number 9 will be 15th, alongside the 23 of Gil Ribeiro, who put in some good runs last season. Let's see if he can make that happen here tonight. Trey Shadid's number 4 starts 17th, and alongside him will be the 19 of Alan Morea. Shadid, particularly in the number 4, he's got a lot of work to do to make up iRating.
Yes, and we have Jeff Hysong in 19th. 20th, we have Matthew Mercer. 21st, we have Stephen Lee. At 22nd, we have Javon Cherry. And in 23rd, we have Dakota Minogue. So Dakota
that's the maid, though.
Yeah, that's the maid.
So Megan Cherry elected not to qualify.
Well, it's probably a good move, seeing how the draft really keeps you close here. But we shall see. The ambient temperature is really not that bad, about 78 degrees here. So not quite sure what the track temperature is. Maybe one of you could tell me that. But it's not really seasonably warm here for Southern California.
Track temp we're reading at 115 degrees Fahrenheit. So while it may be mild for sunny Southern California, the track temp is still a little reasonably toasty here, and that's going to add to the challenge for everyone involved as all 23 of them roll off of the pace lap. Franzoni and Pinero, these guys have been very fast over the last few weeks. From Pinero in particular, he's won 2 of the first 3. He just missed out to Rafael Eckhart on Monday night at Homestead, Miami. Can he make up for that here tonight?
As the field coming around, turns 3 and 4 on the far side of the racetrack, getting ready to go green here at Fontana.
Getting ready for the pace car to peel off. Are we ready for some high speed? Because we're certainly going to get it at Auto Club. It may be the driver's track, but we still have a lot of pace here. Franzoni holding the field up, waiting for his chance. There he goes. Green flag in the air. We are underway at Auto Club. Good jump so far for Franzoni. Pinero trying to tuck in there, but now he looks high. Meanwhile, PDF and Fraporti and Musselman looking down to the low side of Pablo Diaz Francis, side by side in 1 and 2. Will they be able to sort this out quickly?
Battle for the lead.
The draft is certainly going to be a factor, but PDF does jump over Musselman right now and looks to the inside of Fraporti in turn number 3.
Oh, he washes up.
Massive arrow wash there is. And Musselman almost gets forced in the wall there. He has to back out. Some more getting up towards the wall as well. Very hairy start though for those guys. And Musselman has lost 5 positions back to P10. Not a good start for AJ.
Yeah, it's always terrifying that first time through 3 and 4. Tires not up to 10, but you start pushing up to the wall, you get nervous.
You never realize how much of a push it's going to be. But Pinero now to the low side of Franzoni for the race lead. And he will clear him right now. Can Franzoni get back at him? But it is going to be Adriano Pinero leading at the end of lap number 2. Franzoni looking to get the run on him once more, looking to the low side head for 1. And he will clear him even before they get to the corner. But they've opened up about a half-second gap now over for Porty. And now he's having to look in the rearview mirror as Pablo Diaz Francis looks to jump all over him. He looks down to the low side for 3rd. And will he be able to clear him? Not quite there, side by side. Fraporti trying to get the launch off the high side, and he will clear him once more. So we're starting to see a couple of little 2-car packs here. Up at the front here, Pinero and Franzoni, Fraporti and PDF. Sousa and Baroni behind them, but Baroni's now coming under pressure from Mark Murphy for 6th.
Look at the different lines they're taking through the corners. That's a great thing about here in Michigan, is that there's not one place you can park your car that you have to race. You got the whole racetrack.
Very much so. It's not a one-lane track by any stretch of the imagination.
Crossover PDF.
It is coming down. PDF has gotten by for Porty, and Franzoni looks to the low side once more on Pinero to retake that top spot. But for a lot of these guys, I wager it's playing a big game of find the clean air here. Everyone's trying to get as much downforce they can over the front of the car and not have to run in the wake of the car behind them. That's going to cost them a lot of grip there, as I think Verporti almost brushed the wall, as once again, Pinero to the high and to the low side once more for the race lead. This battle certainly doesn't seem to be going anywhere.
No, and there you got a good illustration of how powerful the draft is here. And right here, you'll see it right here. Here comes Franzoni. Gets right back to the attenuator. They're side by side. Got the low side going into turn 1. No panic here. Pinero's just going to tuck in right up behind him. He's going to be a little bit behind him, but watch the closing right here as there you go. He's right back up there, pulls out, and he now has a preferred line going into 3. It's just almost a game.
It very much seems to be, and it looks to me like I remember watching the old broadcast of the 2000 kart race here at Auto Club. It looks kind of like the opening stages of that race with Gilles de Ferran and Elio Castroneves trading the spot back and forth, largely as a strategy thing because they were teammates naturally at that time.
Big battle around P10 right now. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Big battle right around P10. A whole host of cars are in the contention for this one. Murphy, Ragon, Miranda, and Matt Houston, they are all slicing and dicing it up.
Miranda all over the back of Alexandre Ragon there, but Matt Houston now takes advantage down to the low side. He gets all the downforce he ever wanted, and he's going to be looking to make the move work on Miranda. Not quite working there. Miranda did get the draft, so he will clear him.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you pull down, you'll get the clean air, but you don't have the benefit of the draft to kind of help pull you along. And now AJ Musselman is caught back up and recovered a little bit. He is now in P11, and he is now right behind the boss man here, Matt Houston, who has worked his way up into the top 10. Our other good friend, Dakota DeMed, he is back in P20th. It looks like it's a little bit more tougher going back there in the bid pack. And also, it looks like we already have a DNF, Rafael Eckhart. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe one of you guys can take a look when we get a moment. But he is already shown in the pits as out.
Big shame for Rafael Eckhart, the winner last week at Homestead Miami Speedway. Unfortunately, the first casualty of the night could well have been that the aero push may have caught him out there, as that lead battle still hasn't dissipated at all. But this battle in the back of the top 10 still looking very interesting as well. Behind them, John Silva and AJ Musselman battling it out for 11th. Musselman, as we saw before, had that terrible start, so he's going to have a lot of work to do if he wants to get back up there once more. We have a 60-lap race here. There is time to make it work, and of course we'll all have to make a pit stop. Fuel window will probably be opening around lap 20 or so. So these guys have to have a lot of strategy to consider here, and I'd imagine if I was in Musselman's position, I would want to come in fairly early in that cycle if we go green the whole way and try and use that improved pace and fresh tires to get back up there once it all cycles out.
Yeah, and just to give a quick update on what happened to Rafael Eckhart, on the first lap, he just pushed up on the exit of 4 and hit the wall, and it seems like that did his suspension in.
Day done.
Terrible shame there for Rafael Eckhart. Had a decent car underneath him, was looking to make it 2 in a row, it would seem, but that's not going to be happening tonight. And unfortunately, it was just a case of the aero push being a lot stronger than he thought it would be, it seems. But meanwhile, speaking of something stronger than we thought, this lead battle has gone from 2 to 3. PDF is all over the back of Pinero and Franzoni. He's looking to take advantage of whatever error may happen between these two.
Oh, for a second, I thought he was going to split him there on the outside. I was like, oh, no, don't do that, PDF.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen PDF make some bold moves, but he knows as well as anyone it's still early on in the going. As we're looking
Here we
wide
go.
there. Franzoni in the middle. PDF down low. Is he going to have to back out there with that lack of grip, perhaps?
PDF
Not
also
good enough.
touched the white line a little bit too, and you saw a little bit of wiggle from his car there.
Oh, but he did not lift.
He did not lift. He kept his foot in it. And Franzoni takes the lead, but PDF jumps over Pinero, and he's going to be looking to take the lead as they make their way off of 4. Can Pablo do it? Looking down low there, side by side as they cross the line. 3/100ths of a second at the stripe, but Pablo Diaz-Francis moved that number 2 machine to the point.
You would think that, let's tuck in behind. I made my way up to the lead pack there. Let's conserve some precious fuel here. Nope, going right to the front.
Doesn't seem to be his MO, at least not usually here. Especially when the strategy is fairly clear cut in these Indy Fix races. You know what your number is gonna be. You know what you gotta do, and we can just go for it. Especially as good as this race has been so far, there have been no cautions so far. This could well be another good race so far in the top split. We tend to get the official series a lot of ill treatment when it comes to how clean the races can be. But in the top split, though, and especially with these guys, it's been very clean lately. And we're putting on another great show tonight.
All right, now three-way battle between Franzoni, Pablo Diaz-Francis, Adriano Pinero. If Fraporti and Baroni can get organized, they might be able to catch this group. Then there's another bit of an open area there, and then we have Beto Sousa, Mark Murphy, Andre Rigon, Bruno Miranda, and Matt Houston kind of in a 5-car train there as well. So you see the top 5 there, the first 3, the bottom, the next 2, and then Beto Sousa right there in the 6th spot. Kind of leading this next group.
And you can see in the mid-pack here, sorry to interrupt you there, Gary,
Right.
but looking at a lot of these guys here, Baroni, Sousa, Murphy, Rigon, and Miranda, they seem to be liking that higher line there through the middle of the corner. That seems to be that low size not quite been working for them lately. That could well be the tire wear they're forced to deal with. And just as I say it, actually, they seem to be ducking all over the place. Murphy looking to the inside of Sousa for 6th.
Well, Sousa's going to have that. He's going to have that run. Sorry, let me cut you off. Sousa's going to have that run down the backstretch. Also, he might have the benefit slightly of the draft of the car in front of him, which is Baroni. But you get that massive run down the backstretch. Not only can you keep the car wide open the entire time, you're not scrubbing off as much speed because you're not turning the wheel as much. But you're actually, you're using physics a little bit to wing you down the backstretch much faster than the guy on the inside.
Though, in terms of absolute lap time, you want to use the whole racing surface because it shortens the physical distance you have to travel.
Indeed it does, though. With the lack of downforce that these guys may be experiencing in the draft, they may want to avoid the very bottom of the track. They won't have the grip to be able to take advantage of that, at least not with this setup from what I've experienced so far. But looking at this battle right now between Sousa and Murphy, Sousa to the low side, trying to see if he can make it work. He does run down to that lower groove. Can Murphy get the jump on him coming off the corner? Yes, he does actually. It's a little bit slim, but he does have that run side by side now with Beto Sousa.
Yeah, the danger of running the outside is you just about saw it there on the in car. And if the inside car wants to come up and continue its arc out of the corner and its exit and up to the wall, that might shut the door, and the car on the inside might not actually see you. They might think they're clear, and they'll come up and they'll pinch you, and they'll either send you in the wall, or we'll see a 2-car incident occur as the guy on the inside just simply wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, it's very easy to make that error, especially when you misjudge how much grip you actually have in the middle of the corner. When you misjudge it, you put your foot down a little bit too tricky, and they push up high and into the car next to you, and you're not going to be having a very good day after that.
Bruno Miranda starting to make some moves here.
Miranda to the low side of Mark Murphy. That Juncos Racing livery looks very good on that car. Down to the low side, and he will clear him. A good run so far from Miranda. He won on Monday night at Indianapolis last season. He's had a good start so far. He started 12th, already up to 7th.
Yeah, up 5 spots. John Silva up 5 spots. Ribeiro up 5 spots. Those are your big gainers right now. Jovian Cherry also up 5 spots from his starting spot there towards the rear. So some guys are moving up towards the front, but we're about halfway through, I would guess, this first stint, maybe 3/4 of the way through this first stint. These tires are pretty worn out right now.
Speaking of which, I was looking back at Dakota DeMay only to see a near contact between Jovan Cherry and Stephen Lee. Almost put Cherry up in the wall there. This is towards the back of the top 20, but this battle is looking to be a bit dicey as well. Everyone back here knows themselves they have a car that could get back up there, and they don't want to give up any spots as long as they can help it. I can see Dakota DeMay back there. Maybe he's just thinking discretion might be the better part of valor right now and just wants to play it through pit strategy.
Yeah, I'm not sure really what's going on, man. We know DeMay has speed. We know Mercer has speed. We know Romanzini has speed. We know Shadid has speed. And Haisong also has speed. I don't know if it's just that they decided that they're expecting the big one and the big one just hasn't happened yet or what. But they've just been kind of cruising back here for 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, and 22nd and kind of just riding it out. We got 2 cars hitting pit road right now. That is AJ Musselman and Matt Houston.
Musselman, I definitely expected him to come in early here. Probably a good call for him. Houston and Romanzini, the earliest takers so far. So this is their pit strategy that they're playing, coming in early, using that fresh rubber to make some good laps, catch up to the pack here. And then once everything cycles out, they will have the track position advantage. But this lead battle between PDF and Franzoni certainly hasn't gone away. And they're enjoying not just good racing right now, but also good pace as well. Their pace really hasn't diminished too much. It's been pretty even with the 4th place car for Porty, who seems to be all by his lonesome at this point.
We see Matt Houston coming back up to speed, as well as AJ Musselman right in front of him as they work their way back into the racing line here. They are now, one of the bad things about pitting here is you will go a lap down. It's fast enough for that to happen. So now these guys are praying for no caution.
Yep, that's the gamble you take by pitting early.
It always is. It's the one caveat you have. When you come in after you pit, you do not want a caution. They'll be praying to the racing gods to have that happen in their favor. It's been a clean race so far. We're about to start working lap number 27 for the race leaders. This battle has still not diminished. This has looked like one that we'll be seeing not just to the end of this fuel run, but also possibly all the way to the checkers.
Yeah, the top three have kind of, sorry, let me cut you up. The top 3 have kind of pulled away. There's and in fact, really, they're really close to breaking the draft from Porty. The draft envelope of these cars is about 1.5 seconds. For Porty was about 1.4 seconds back. Now he's cut it to 1.3. 1.1, 1.2. So he is flirting with losing that draft.
Wow, looking back at the battle for 5th right now, Baroni and Miranda. Miranda's been looking to the low side on Baroni the last couple laps or so, still holding side by side there, but Baroni does have that draft advantage for Porty, and that's thwarted his attempts over the last few laps so far. But Miranda not giving in that easily, that's for certain.
Got 2 of the Bread King cars hooking up here with Sousa and Ragon. They probably want to work with each other to get to that first pit stop.
And Sousa lying about 1 second behind Miranda right now.
Miranda pulled that pass off.
Sorry about that?
Miranda pulled that pass off. He got around Baroni, and now Baroni has got the low side on him between turns 3 and 4. Slides up the racetrack right in front of him. Whoa!
Ooh, does clear him and gets a little cozy with the wall off of turn 4. Miranda once again looking to the low side as they head back into turn number 1. Baroni was ahead of him at the stripe there, but Baroni running way up high there pretty much yields the spot by default. Not sure what happened there to Baroni, but he's still stuck there in the draft right now of Miranda. He's still going to stay with him, but meanwhile, the 2 Bread King cars going side by side for 7th. Ragon looking to the low side of Beto Sousa. Let's see, side by side, not quite enough. Sousa holds on to the punt.
Right, yep. Sousa is the one with the white tires, the white rims. Regon is the one with the matte black rims. So we're actually riding along with Regon right now as he is rim riding up top here in turns 1 and 2.
Again, taking that line that will keep him out of the direct slipstream of Sousa's car. It's going to be helping him a good bit there. Ooh, is now Sousa actually runs up a bit high with him. That forced Regon up close to the wall a little bit more. As now Regon looks to the low side, and he'll be trying to use the draft of Baroni to his advantage. He does so. He clears him handily.
John Silva must have had a moment on that lap. Lost 2 positions to Murphy and Ribeiro. He is now back to 11th as he was just fought his way into the top 10.
Gil Ribeiro up 6 positions in this race, so he's had a good start so far, but certainly not what he would have wanted in that situation.
Franzoni in the pit.
Franzoni, the first of the top 3 to come in. PDF took over the lead, and Franzoni was actually jumped by Pinero while we were away. Let's see how being the first of the front runners to come in helps or hinders him.
Silva also joining him on pit road.
Keeping an eye to see if any of the others bite the bullet and come in. PDF, Pinero, Fraporti, Miranda have stayed out. So they're going to keep going with this strategy so far. Franzoni down and away. He will go a lap down, of course. But again, he's begging right now. Please, no caution. Franzoni's had a fantastic race so far. That would be the last thing he ever wants to see in this circumstance.
New cam angle here. We're watching from the visor. From the visor of Rodrigo Franzoni. You're in the helmet. Look at the bumps. Look how bumpy this surface is. It's never been repaved.
Amazing how long the surface has lasted. When the track first opened in the late 1990s, now even in 2022, they still have not repaved it. You may as well put the surface of this track in the National Registry of Historic Places.
Well, it could probably get a check from the AARP if they needed to. That's how old it is here, and I don't think they really plan on doing anything with it. But this surface is a lot better if it was. Let's put it this way: if this surface was sitting where Michigan is, with those Michigan winners, it would be a lot worse than what it is right now.
It would be. Gil Ribeiro, Alan Morea, and Jovan Cherry have now come onto pit road as well. But our leaders have stayed out. We're working lap number 36. They will have to consider, of course, coming in the next few laps, and we're running low on the tank here. 40 laps is around the number. They may be able to stretch out 1 or 2 more, but I would wager they'd still want to have that fresh rubber. They want that rubber as fresh as possible for the end of the race, of course. That seems to be what their game plan is compared to the likes of AJ Musselman and Franzoni and company. They're going to have fresh rubber for the time being, but that'll probably, and that will definitely be wearing off towards the end, and these guys will have that advantage.
Franzoni with the fresh tires, a 32.5, while the leaders are sitting at 33.1. So that's how much faster Franzoni is at the moment. Right now, it's the top 8 who has not hit pit road. Right now, just hitting pit road is Stephen Lee. He is working his way. Who's on pit road?
Adriano Fraporti. He's in from 4th.
Fraporti. There he is. He is hitting pit road as well.
Stephen Lee makes his way off. We're keeping an eye on Franzoni. He was in the top 5 for pretty much all race. Goes into...
EDF is coming in?
Yes, he is. Pablo Diaz-Francis and Bruno Miranda. Miranda locks up that left rear on entry. You don't need that tire anymore anyway, he wagers. So, trying to gain as much of an advantage as he can. Meanwhile, behind them, one of the Bread King cars, that is Alexandre Regon behind them. He comes in as well.
Pinero is staying out. Sosa is staying out. Murphy is staying out. Shadid is staying out. Those 4 right now are working lap 39 of their current stint. And here comes your leader, Adriano Pinero.
And once again, big lockup of that left front tire. Again, he doesn't need it anymore, but that's still one cooked Firestone. Coming down the pit lane at 55 miles an hour, it always feels like absolute agony compared to going around 220 before, as PDF makes his way off a pit road.
All right.
Let's see if the game really works for them. Let's see who's the winner and the loser.
Yeah, we're watching Franzoni right now as he's entering turn 3. He got the jump on Pablo Diaz-Francis. He has a good cushion between himself and Francis right now. This is for 6th, or 5th and 6th, but this ultimately, when the pit stops cycle through, this will be for the lead. So here we see Franzoni, and he's gonna pass Pinero right at pit exit.
There he goes.
And he's gonna, well, you know what? He dips down and tries to give the draft to Pinero. I'm not sure why he did that. I would kind of want to break the draft and make PDF and Pinero kind of fight it out. Right now, your leader is Trey Shadid, who just hit the pit road.
Shadid in his box right now, but if we cycle the lead once more effectively to Rodrigo Franzoni. What can Pinero do? What can PDF do? And looking at 5th place right now, for Porty moves up to P5 at the moment with Shadid on pit road. That'll be effectively 4th. But here comes John Silva looking to the inside for effective P5.
And he pulls it off. So the first of the early stoppers, AJ Musselman right here. He has worked his way up to P7, so that is paying off for him. Unfortunately, Matt Houston, it is not paying off for him. He seems to be stranded back in 14th right there with his teammate Dakota DeMade. Dakota's worked his way up to 15. So the early stoppers, the number 1 early stopper right now is AJ Musselman. And then when we're looking of the people that just stopped, and then you have like a mid group that just stopped a little bit earlier than them, and the leader kind of that group would be Franzoni.
Speaking of Musselman, he's looking to challenge Bruno Miranda for P6. Staying in the draft there, he had a run on the low side. Can he get the run he needs?
Caution.
Caution's out. I'm seeing one of the cars involved. It is Stephen Lee. Lee is one of the cars involved in it. And it looks to me like it was contact with Beto Sousa.
Oh, wow. Let's go back in the Wayback Machine here and see what happened that caused this caution to come out. And does anyone hit pit road? We will see here momentarily.
So Lee looking to the high side in 1 and 2. Tries to get the run off the corner. And, just a little bit of contact there.
Ooh. I think he was a little upset at him. I think he tried to bump draft him, actually. I think if you go back and watch the replay one more time from this particular camera angle, let's go from the bullet. Let's go to the Race First One airship a little bit here and take a look here from this. But you see a run that Lee gets, and Sosa just slammed the door on him, and I don't think Lee was too happy with that.
Yeah, he made a call on the radio about it, that he wasn't too happy about it.
Yeah, so that's going to end his day early, unfortunately, but let's see who's going to make that turn down pit road. Franzoni, Pablo Diaz-Francis, a lot of pump fakes going on right now. Silva, Miranda.
Musselman's coming in.
Yeah, Musselman really has nothing to lose at this point. Get the freshies on and line up and go.
The big question mark, I'd say there, I definitely get where Musselman's coming from being on older tires. That's a lot of track position loss of the leaders. Are those fresh tires going to be a big enough advantage for him to claw back those spots?
It looks like everybody behind him went with him, I think, for the most part. A couple people stayed on the track. Murphy, Shadid, they were only 4 and 5 laps into their stint. Sousa about the same way. Although Sousa might want to take a run down pit road and see if he might have any damage. He could be sporting a little bit. We're not quite sure exactly. But Musselman's going to come out and rejoin on the lead lap at 13th for the restart.
So only 3 spots lost for AJ Musselman coming on the pit road there. So I'd say with the fresh tires, he's liable to make up a good number of positions, especially with the fresh rubber, and everyone else has got at least 10-lap-old tires in front of him. And with how hard this track has been so far, especially in the draft, I think Musselman can make up some spots here.
Trying to go through the field here in the in-cars to see who might be trying that burning off the excess fuel. I haven't heard it yet, but I'm expecting it. Every little ounce counts in terms of making these cars as fast and as slipstream as possible. If you got less weight than the next guy, you're faster. Not by much, but you're faster.
Still not hearing them rev the motor to try and burn off fuel. At least not too many of them. The lights are out on the pace car. One more lap before we go back to green. We'll go green on lap number 47 of 60. And this, I think, will be a really fun 14 laps.
Yeah, I think some people are going to push the issue. We shall see. You know what they say. Unfortunately, this is a NASCAR coined term, but cautions breed cautions. And we shall see exactly what happens here. If we get a little impatience going on and somebody wants to use the old chrome nose to go to the front.
Oh dear. Well, the thing about super speedways is you have to be with the leaders if you want to win on the last lap, and people are always willing to force the issue to get there.
Ain't that the truth? People always want to get the run, get the win, and if you're in that lead pack, you think you have a chance. You pretty much do have a chance. Gotta make it happen.
Here we go. Waiting on the pace car. Yep.
It is Pinero with the lead. Franzoni, Pablo Diaz-Francis, Adriano Fraporti, and John Silva up 10 spots is your top 5 right now. Pace car down.
Franzoni's leaving a lot of room between him and Pinero for some reason. Not quite sure why he's doing that.
May have been to get a run off on the backstretch there, but he holds up PDF as we go back to green. Pinero with the jump, but will Franzoni's plan of lying back to get a run in the draft help him here? Or will it just help Pablo Diaz-Francis behind him as they run the low side there? Not quite up to speed yet. PDF all over the rear wing. He looks to the low side in turn number 3. Trying to stay side by side with him. Franzoni running that higher line. Gets the run off the corner once more. Pinero now sees that number 11 machine all over him once again. Will Franzoni, he's going to look to the inside. Rodrigo Franzoni to the low side once more. And he will take the lead for now.
PDF is going to try to follow Pinero up on the high side there. 3 wide, a little bit further behind him with Ribeiro, Miranda, and Gomes.
Miranda trying to... And Miranda getting by his teammate there, Pedro Gomez. And Ribeiro trying to follow through on it, but a good launch right there for Bruno Miranda as he's now going to try and pursue John Silva for 5th.
Here's the first of the pitters. We got AJ Musselman and Shadid here in 13th and 14th as they are looking to move on up, and they might just be running out of time. Whoa, yeah, almost slid up into that one.
Musselman does clear. Trace Shadid, not quite enough to get by Ragon. It wasn't quite the 2-for-1 I'm sure he hoped it would be. But Shadid running that low side. Musselman trying to stay with him there. I think he had a bit of aero push. Almost 3 wide running there for the lead. Pinero on the low side. PDF gets by Franzoni. Franzoni gets freight trained by the 2 of them. PDF looking to the low side. We're coming to 10 laps to go this time, and Pablo Diaz-Francis is number 2, moves up to the lead.
Yeah, PDF's tires are about the same age as Pinero's. Franzoni is the one with the older tires. They're about 7 laps older than this duo.
Certainly not an advantage for Franzoni there, even though he tried to and had that very good run early on. But PDF gets passed once more by Pinero, but you can guarantee he's got the draft once more, looking down low into turn number 3.
I think those older tires are starting to hurt Franzoni.
And it's pushing him a little bit closer into the clutches of both for Porty. And now John Silva, they're side by side right now for 4th. Silva backs out there, and here comes Bruno Miranda into the picture now for 5th. Oh no, that's Pedro Gomez.
Yeah,
Never mind.
Yeah, that's Pedro.
Gomez is down by Miranda.
But here does come Miranda, and here comes Ribeiro as they're going to join this battle here momentarily.
Oh, Miranda getting cozy with the wall. But Pedro Gomez started 14th, now running in 5th, looking to possibly get a podium out of this.
Yeah, he has gained 10 spots on the day. He is the biggest gainer so far, and he has very patiently worked his way up.
Silva does get back by him, and now it's pushed him back into the hands of Bruno Miranda and Gil Ribeiro. May have had a rough moment there in the draft, but John Silva now trying to run down for Porty for 4th. And meanwhile, all these guys see the number 11 of Franzoni in front of them, and they think they have a chance at this, maybe snag a podium away from one of the dominant cars of the night.
Yeah, that would be a bit of a coup right now at this point, especially the way that he's dominated all race long along with Pinero. I think unless we have a late caution where these guys can group back up and fight it out for the win, I really think it's going to come down to Pinero and PDF at this point. I think Franzoni, I think those tires are just a bit too old right now.
That may very well be. For Porty, looking all over the rear of him. He's on the high side now on that corner, trying to get the launch there. He's in the draft. Let's see which way he goes. But it looks to me for Porty has got the advantage at the moment. He'll be sticking to the high side there. Not what he wants, I don't think. But he'll try and get the run off the corner, staying in the slipstream. But they have opened themselves up a gap ahead there. PDF and Pinero now have over a 1-second lead on Franzoni and for Porty as they're battling side by side for 3rd. This battle has not let up as we're coming to 5 laps to go here in Fontana.
For Porty, it would be very in his best interest, I imagine, to pull this pass off as clean as possible.
Yeah, you do not want to be the driver who ends this race.
Nope, very much not. For Porty, still trying to... And now we see a bit of a snake. We see a little bit of a draft snake right now as Silva looking to the low side of for Porty for 4th. Side by side for Porty is going to have that launch on the high side, though. And he is going to clear him. But meanwhile, we also see a bit of a draft snake with the 2 leaders, Pinero and PDF.
Seems like for Porty just kind of gets there and then... The wash just kind of sends them back. And now we got the leaders going with the snake. So Pinero is trying to now break the draft between himself and PDF. 4 to go.
Coming to 3 laps to go this time for our leaders. What does PDF have? Pinero with the lead. But PDF still staying in his wheel tracks, but the draft is certainly becoming less and less of an advantage right now as the tires get worn away on PDF's number 2.
Going down to the inside, guarding the IRL line that used to run here, back up to the top. That is not blocking. And not by the definition, although IndyCar does have a rule for blocking. That is not blocking by the rule.
PDF ran that higher line there in turns 3 and 4. 2 laps to go. PDF has closed the gap up a little bit. Will it be enough? Looks that high side there. Pinero down low. He'll try to get the run off the corner now. And he'll have the tow. Pinero knows it. He's going to let PDF go down low. And he'll try and get the run on the top side this time.
I wonder if he just planned that. He wants to be there when the white flag lap comes where he can make that move himself.
That could be. White flag this time. Who's going to get it? Does Pinero have the right game plan? Did playing dead on the previous lap work out for him? He works to the high side now. side by side with PDF, trying to get the launch.
He's going to have
They
it down the
still stay
backstretch.
even. And he does clear him. Pinero does clear him. Does PDF, can he make the comeback now in 3 and 4? Looking to that high side once again. Pinero down low.
Here comes the draft. Is it going to be enough?
Here he comes to the stripe.
Down to the
It
apron.
will be Pinero.
Pinero.
Adriano Pinero, 3 for 4 on Monday night. He wins at Auto Club. Great finish.
Margin of victory, 0.141.
And Franzoni holds on to P3. John Silva takes 4th ahead of Raporti. Pedro Gomez in P6.
I think it was a good day for Club Brazil. We're going to see here. I think they might have swept the much of the top 10. We'll see here when we get the final results up on the screen.
Looks to me like around half the field represents Brazil. And it's a great day in Brazil on iRacing. The top 5 for certain. Yeah, pretty much the top 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I believe Baroni, yes, he is. The top
10 is all swept by Brazil.
All representing Brazil.
So congratulations to Mark Murphy for being best in class. And congratulations for Matt Houston for finishing on the podium for best in class. Man, the Brazilians just dominated today. Let's go ahead and read off here the final results here from Fontana and Auto Club Speedway here on the Monday Night Indy's top split. Adriano Pinero with a yet another win. PDF, he outduels him to the finish, but a good P2 nevertheless, pretty strong. Franzoni started strong early, actually had a pretty good pit strategy, but I think that late caution really exposed his used tires, and he fell back to 3rd. John Silva comes from the back to the front to finish 4th. Adriano Raporti 5th. Gomes 6th. Ribeiro 7th. Miranda 8th. Ragon 9th. Baroni 10th. Your top 15, Mark Murphy, Beto Sousa, Matt Houston, the boss man, Matt Mercer, and Dakota DeMaid round out your top 15. Your top 20, AJ Musselman. Not sure what happened to him with those new tires. I guess they just didn't pay off, but he did have some pretty good pit strategy that worked his way up to P7. Roman Zini, Shadid, Cherry, and Haisong all were just kind of in the back all day long today. Shadid did work his way up to the front through pit strategy, but most of these guys really had a tough time trying to break it up into the mid pack. They were just kind of in the rear the whole day. Not sure again if that was a strategy and that big wreck never happened or what. And then the remainder of your field here is Morera, Stephen Lee, and Rafael Eckart. Lee and Eckart involved in incidences that ended their days early. Now let's see if there's anybody in the waiting room. Nope. And that's a good thing, because tonight 2 of us here have a Lionheart Speedway Series race that we need to get to, so that's not too far away. Gentlemen, starting with you, Steven, and then on the Ryan, Fontana, did it live up to the billing?
I personally believe it did. It was a fantastic showing from everyone involved, and it shows not just how close the competition is, but how good everyone races with each other. A lot of these guys are very familiar with each other. They know the track very well. Track that does provide a challenge compared to a lot of the other ones out there. It's a bumpy surface. It's difficult to find the right line at times, and it certainly showed that it was a skill-based race as well as a little bit of judgment to find and to finally get themselves up to that spot there. Pinero, once again, though, a fantastic drive for him, and he's certainly shown himself to be a major force to be reckoned with this season.
Ryan?
Yeah, and I have to echo what Steven said, where it's like tonight at Fontana, you showed you could have races in big places like this without back racing and have entertaining races. The race-long duel between Pinero and Pablo Diaz-Francis was fantastic, and we really didn't know who was going to win this race until the closing laps.
Yeah, I was just wondering there at the end if Pinero really baited Francis into taking the lead a lap earlier than he wanted to. Maybe that urge is always there. You see the window open, and the urge is you want to go for it. Some people rather be leading than in P2, but I think in maybe that situation, Pablo should have probably tucked back into the draft and bided his time a little bit more. But you know what they say about hindsight's 2020. So next week we move on to Monza for the first of 2 road courses this season. And I'm going to turn it right over to you, Steven. You are our road guy. Tell us let's give us a preview of Monza next week here. Is going to be round 5.
Well, if Auto Club Speedway is a cathedral of speed in the IndyCar world, it's obviously the home of the closed course world speed record. Monza is the cathedral of speed for Formula One. It is the fastest track on the Formula One calendar. Average speeds of over 150 miles an hour in those cars. Of course, pace in the IndyCar is not quite as fast as that, but it's still very fast. It can actually lead to a degree of pack racing depending on the car itself. The racing can be very close. But one thing will definitely separate from the men from the boys there, I reckon, and that is the opening lap, turn number 1. You make it through there, you have a chance of making some very good races out of Monza. It's going to be fast. It's going to be a flowing track. A lot of these guys really enjoy it, with maybe one corner being an exception. But I think Monza is going to be a fantastic race for the Indy fix.
Ryan, what are your thoughts on Monza? We know you're not a road guy like me, but your thoughts there on Monza. It's not a bad track for oval drivers, really, is it?
Yeah, it's mainly a track that I have to worry about in my day job, but turn 1 at Monza is one of the, I would say, not terrifying first corners in motorsport, but it's definitely anxiety-inducing. You get through turn 1, then you worry about the rest of the race, and the rest of the racing in Monza is great. Turn 1 becomes a nice passing zone, and also the run down into the final corner, the Parabolica.
Yeah, I would say that probably turn 1 there at Monza is probably, I can't really think of a worse turn 1, maybe Monaco. Somebody in chat, feel free to mention the worst turn 1 in Formula One racing. I'm not quite sure what the worst turn 1 in IndyCar racing is, but yeah, it's going to be an adventure for these guys. Definitely a game of a give and take that we'll see. And also, you see a lot of road racing here on this channel, but for the Formula Indy Series, it's a standing start, and so we will see a rolling start, which could be all sorts of chaos next week. So definitely tune in. So that is pretty much it for tonight. Many thanks to Ryan Eric King for joining us. We'll see you next on the Monday Night Indy Fix broadcast on May 9th when the series moves to Legacy, Michigan. And once again, your podium from Fontana is... And I need to get the exit music here. See, I don't have a director in the booth. We all have to do this the hard way.
Yeah.
And so your podium again from Fontana is Adriano Pinero, Pablo Diaz, Francis, and Rodrigo Franzoni. Join Steven and myself next week for Race First coverage of Round 5 of the Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split of Season 222. As we said, the series moves on to its first of 2 scheduled road courses this season, Monza. This coverage begins at 8:15 Eastern Time. That is 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube at youtube.com/racefirst. Hey, we love bringing these races to you, but they are not easy, require time and money to produce. Because of your generosity and donations, we've been able to bring you commercial-free coverage of the last 2 Indy Fix seasons. If you share our passion for the sport of IndyCar and have enjoyed our coverage of the Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split, please take time to visit our GoFundMe page. The link is in the description, and donate to our Season 222 Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split broadcast fund. We do realize times are tough, so any contribution will be greatly appreciated. We thank you for watching and making us a part of your Monday evenings each and every week. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game is not easy, so please help support Race First with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below and let us know what you thought of tonight's race. And if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, go ahead and smash a like in the video. Just like this. Boom. If you're new, click subscribe, and while you're at it, hit the bell for weekly reminders so you don't miss out on more Race vs. iRacing programming. Join us for a really big week of racing this week with the Midwest Kidney Warriors Formula Indy Series finale on Tuesday and the next round of the IndyCar iRacing Series at Long Beach on Friday. Keep your browser set here for the most in-depth IndyCar knowledge on all of iRacing. It's Race First. We have your IndyCar experts. For business inquiries to learn more about RaceFirst and what we do, visit racefirst.com or follow us on Twitter. You can follow me, Gary Gotso, on Twitter at Gary Gotso. So for Stephen Larkamp, Ryan Eric King, everyone at RaceFirst, I'm Gary Gotso saying to all, good night. Thanks for watching, and to all of our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Thanks again, everyone. Catch us next week for the next race of the Monday Night Indy Fixed Top Split. Good night.